Hello everyone, this is Jeff. I have something else I would like to share with you that I've been thinking about during my travels all around the United States. This is a Grange hall, and it's situated in the town of Orland, California, which is the next town over from where I lived when I was a kid, Capay. And Capay, California is where I lived from the time I was born until I was almost 8 years old. Grange halls were the focal point of every community from about 1850 until the advent of television and radio. More often than not, it was the first building built in each community. And now we travel to the ghost town of Dot, Washington, and find this building, one of the last remaining buildings. It was the Grange Hall and also the community center and the one-room schoolhouse. The Grange was started in 1867, and its official name is the National Grange of the Order of Patrons of Husbandry. The first Grange Hall ever built is in Fredonia, New York, and it still stands today. This is what it looks like today. Cities and towns built community centers after about 1850, but it wasn't until 1867 when these independent little halls were organized into the organization that it is now. The Grange was started by Oliver Hudson Kelly. But the organization has had more than one life, because when he originally started it, it was a lot like Freemasonry. It was a secret society and it really didn't catch on. It was later when they opened membership up to everyone that it really took off and became the focal point of every community. In all of the towns that I lived in when I grew up, it was always the first building you looked for when you moved to a new town, because that was where all of the flea markets and the Boy Scouts and the weddings and the potlucks and the community bake sales and everything else was held. During times of war, these are the enlistment centers and where the Red Cross held blood drives. Once while traveling through Oklahoma, I went through a small town where they were actively searching for 2 escaped convicts, and the Oklahoma State Patrol had all of their equipment set up in, you guessed it, the parking lot for the local Grange. One year for Christmas when I was a kid, I wanted a .22 rifle, and my mother told me that if I was willing to take a hunter safety course, that I would get the .22 rifle for Christmas. And I went down and signed up for a hunter safety course. The hunter safety course was given in this building, you guessed it, the local Grange Hall. It would be impossible for me to list all of the functions I attended inside this building. Spring dances, fall dances, Sadie Hawkins dances, Boy Scouts, scrap drives, the list goes on and on. When I took my behind the wheel driver's test, this is actually where you drove, and it was the spot where they concluded that you could drive and said, okay, you passed, and you went back to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get your driver's license. I thought I would show you what the inside of one of these amazing old buildings look like. Just think of the countless functions it has housed in its 100 plus years of operation. Unfortunately, these buildings are not being utilized like they once were. And as a result, buildings like this in Laconia, New Hampshire, a 217-year-old Grange Hall now looks like this. Which is why I'm bringing this story to you now, because I think it is incredibly sad that these historic buildings are being torn down. These buildings were part of my childhood. They were part of my growing up. And they are where communities held silver anniversaries and retirement parties and potlucks. I could not even begin to tell you how many towns I go through on a regular basis and see these buildings being either torn down or a fence around them in preparation to be torn down. I'm not seeing a replacement for these buildings as I travel around the United States, or a fraternal organization stepping up to take their place. When I delivered drinking water and food rations to the National Guard and the Army after Hurricane Katrina, I delivered them to a Grange Hall in Gretna, Louisiana. On December 7th, after everyone heard about the bombing of Pearl Harbor, they immediately ran down to their local Grange Hall because it was there they believed they would hear information about what they were supposed to do. I am afraid after all of these old halls are gone, much of old Americana as I knew it will cease to exist also. I spend a lot of time wondering if part of the problem that we're having right now is our loss of community. I feel sorry for kids nowadays not having these places to go to and these things to do like I had when I was growing up. We've come full circle back to the ghost town of Dot, Washington. Thank you for coming along on this trip with me. And stay well, everyone, and I will see you again.